464. Just going to get Instagram going as well. Good evening. Okay, hello. Hello world. It's been a while, a couple of days off with the old pain. I think I took Friday off. So the neck is, check it out. I can do this now. It's not bad. That's an improvement. Anyway, so we're episode 464. The date is Monday the 31st of Jan, last day of the month. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, yeah, things that happened this month. I turned 50 and I am due in 3 days' time. Is that right? First is Tuesday. Yeah, I'm due. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. Sorry, I'm due on Thursday up in London at Guy's Hospital where I had my kidney transplant. Actually, crazily, it'll be, wow, it's kind of blown me away the more I think about it. It was during Wimbledon. I try not to bang on too much about the medical stuff. Determined not to define myself by this is my list of medical stuff. You know, I've seen nothing wrong with it. It's a personal choice. I've decided not to, but I have seen entire accounts on Twitter, for example, of people where their entire account, their entire identity is devoted to the fact they've had a transplant. You know, I'm not belittling that because I've had one too, but you know, I would have to list, you know, the spine tumor and the heart attacks and everything else, and you know, which ones. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't want to, nor shall I, ever have as a terms of, you know, like T's and C's, you know, or just a definition of myself. Hello, I'm Justin. This is what's wrong with me. You know, that's not what I want to be known for. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. Seeing as we're living in an era of caveats, apologies, and purity testing, it feels right to talk about Rogan, and the kind of title I've given tonight is the opinions of others. Do they matter? How much do they matter? Ask yourselves that. I mean, look, I put it to you, dear viewer, listener, probably is single, that all humans, whether we admit it or not, whether we like it or not, God, I can stay in my eyes. Just finished on the bike. All humans, whether we like it or not, are affected. We allow the effect of people's opinions to affect us, and only as I don't want to say age, but certainly this stage in my life, only now am I starting to put less emphasis, less thought, less worry, less concern, you know, am I bothered on what people might say or think, because rarely do they do, if that makes sense. You know, more so now than ever because of the screen society that we live in. The likelihood, the chances of someone, you know, tangibly being there in real life going, I don't like you, I don't agree with your politics, therefore I'm going to bash you, that's extremely unlikely to happen. And I put it to you that the people that are most agree, you know, like on their keyboards, that are most sort of furious online are the ones that are going to do the least amount. I mean, I liken this to my days. I did 17 years all told up of door work. You know what many, in the mainstream called bouncing, right? And it was the people that were most furious that their biggest displays of, the classic "hold me back, I'm going to kill you." Do you know what I mean? The number of times I was threatened with, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to smash you to pieces, I'm going to shoot you, you're dead, mate," all that. And literally, "hold me back, fellas." And they'd always have like this, the sort of individual I'm describing would invariably have a mate or five to hold me back, "I'm going to kill you." And there was ample opportunity, ample distance and timing, and in terms of spatial awareness, SPAT, just like ample chance for said person to certainly bash me or have a go. And they didn't. And you could scale this up to saber rattling, couldn't you? You could say, well, what's a country-wide example would be, well, look at Putin's saber rattling. I, as a non-American but a fanboy of America, am deeply offended and concerned by the appalling, treacherous, treasonous behaviour of Biden. I mean, we all know that presidents will fabricate a war in an attempt to save their presidency. I mean, one thing we all know, and if you don't know this, then with respect, you're naive. And I don't mean to be cruel, but if you don't know or believe what I'm about to say, then you really are living in la la land. History has proven that, I mean, more times than I care to mention, more times than I can blurt out examples. Leaders, whether they be of the prime minister, or presidential variety, have conveniently, out of the ether, out of apparently nothing, declared, "Up, there's a war, and we must go off our own country's soil to get involved, to defend that country that we have nothing to do with." Obviously I'm talking about Ukraine, and obviously I'm talking about Biden, and obviously I'm referring to the fact that with the daily fading of their money-making narrative around COVID, caveat, not saying COVID's not real, just saying that it's been a fantastic opportunity for government spending and for people involved in, the medicating of humans. And in terms of the media, of course, I'm referring to the media now, the deep divisions that have, been dug. That it's become a terrible, terrible, wicked sport, an awful, divisive sport. And this is why I've got to talk about opinions. I've got to talk about Joe Rogan because a good friend of mine, Doug, put me onto Rogan back in the summer of 2010, and I remember vividly in August 2010 when I started my dialysis. On a Gen 1, it gives, I can chronologically, demonstrably go, well, let's measure it in tech. This was the iPad Gen 1. So I can guarantee you, I shouldn't have to GOOGLE it, but I'm pretty confident in saying the original iPad first gen was in the summer of 2010, and I had one on my lap during the 6-hour sessions of dialysis I had, which is 2 episodes of Joe Rogan. So I've been, I was just watching him on YouTube, pre Spotify, and the recent, so yeah, me, been watching 12 years. The recent outrage, the fake outrage surrounding, it was just a witch hunt, isn't it, surrounding Rogan. The ire, if that's the right word, isn't it? You know, coming from the mainstream smeardia, the government, big tech, etc., other newsreaders, other news inverted commas organisations who are frankly ever so threatened and fearful of Rogan and by Rogan, and moreover, the laughably simple business model. Time and time again, you hear first-hand reports of people that have been on Rogan's podcast in the studio, and of course I want to do it. My day will come, where they've said what a bare operation it is. Some would say amateurish. I mean, really, it's just minimalistic, isn't it? It's him and young Jamie, bit of security, and that's it. So it's not a studio corporate effort. And of course, if one was to tour, whether it be our own BBC or CNN or any of these channels which are incredibly threatened by him, you would see the conventional model, the lights, camera, action, staff, literally dozens, what am I saying, dozens, hundreds of people involved. And of course, the reason why Joe Rogan is giving everyone, myself included, hope is that yes, we know he's a multimillionaire. Of course he is. Spotify deal alone was 100 mil. The point being, there is visual proof. You see, there isn't visual proof or even written proof of our politicians doing what they claim to have done, in terms of virtue. If we are to purity test everyone, and I mean everyone, it's a rare human being that doesn't have skeletons in his or her closet, right? Myself included. I openly call this TrueHouse. I openly say, if anyone was to sit me down, on a lie detector and say, I am not here to lie. I've moved beyond the fear of being found out. I've moved as a human. I've moved beyond, not talking about like any great milestone endeavour, but for my own mental state, I've moved beyond lying and bullshitting myself and bullshitting others. Sadly, when flesh and blood, shit stinking humans like Biden, and the reason I couch it, that's the right term. The reason I describe it in those terms is because I could be talking about Biden or Boris Johnson or the Queen. I throw out these names because societally speaking, they're important people. But they've got shit and blood and pus and puke and every other bodily fluid, and to think of them otherwise is a mistake. To elevate these people into positions of untouchability, the rarefied atmosphere, is idol worship. It's demagoguery, isn't it? It's they're an omnipotent being and you must worship them. Au contraire. This is why, personally, I wouldn't feel any. I might have some nervous excitement as a fanboy, but if the opportunity rose in my life, the opportunity came to be where, circumstances were such that someone said to me, hey, Just, this is, you're going to meet Joe in a minute. I'd be like, oh, cool, man. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, like when you see footage of teenage girls, screaming themselves into a sort of unconscious, hysterical, trance-like state over said pop star, right? Showing my age, a pop star. These are things that wouldn't happen to my central nervous system if I was to meet someone that I like Joe Rogan. For a start, I'd have to look down because he's little. But needless to say, the level of conversation that is necessary for anyone, whether look, there are people out there that won't even know Joe Rogan's name. That's never diminishing number because thanks to the media, thanks to this is where the Streisand effect is coming into effect. Just a little backpedal to demonstrate or to explain what the Streisand effect is. It's a term given to describe something that wants to be hidden, and in the endeavour of hiding it, you bring attention to it. So let me quickly expand or elaborate. Barbra Streisand, the famous actress, singer, obviously from a different generation. She's got a very nice property in Malibu, I believe. And I've forgotten what year this was, but certainly in the last 8 or 10 years, when a journalist found out the doxed, the location of a property, she kicked off, legend has it, and attempted to get this journalist to remove your photographs. Don't let them print that. Again, she's from, with all due respect, it's just an age thing, isn't it? It's a generational thing. She is, well, as am I. She's from that printing press generation where I can stop this story on me by speaking to the editor at the paper. Stop the press. That mentality. That's not understanding how tinterweb works. Of course, we know that nothing is erased really, and nothing disappears ever. No matter how much you hit delete, there's still people out there with the means. It's as Zuckerberg said in the Social Network, great Fincher film. The internet's written in ink, not pencil, or words to that effect. So with Barbra Streisand trying to silence this journalist about her property, of course it blew up. It being online, it made everyone else seeing the article online go, "Ooh, Barbra Streisand, where does she live?" And the Sauron eye of the world, in a world, apexed its view, its purview onto, search engine, Barbra Streisand, where does she live? Where's her house? And that's the, the lore, L-O-R-E, legend behind the Streisand effect. And that is, as one tries to silence, censor, suppress, shut up, it simply brings attention. And to a bod like me, who's had a dozen years now of watching Rogan, and again, any critique or any critic of me would go, "Oh, look at Justin, just like Dick riding Joe, just fanboying out." Yes, but moreover, it's not just him; it's what he stands for, which is actually having a conversation. I'm fond of a word or 5,000. And if you think about the actual model of what Joe's done and does, it is literally, cameras, lights, 2 of them, mics, 2 of them, couple of drinks, off you go. I mean, it's a setup that even on the tiny budget that I'm on, I've falsely made here with, the cheapest of cheap backdrops. Microphones that are a third of the price. No, sorry, I correct myself, a fifth of the price. A light, a softbox light. My point is, it's accessible. If you said to, your regular Gen Pop civvy like me, there's a bit of a geek, bit of a fanboy of the JRE, it's the Joe Rogan Experience acronym, and said, "Oh, you know, could you make a studio like CNN?" The answer would be no. You know, if you stopped a regular guy like me and said, "Could you, Justin, create a CNN experience?" I'd be like, "Well, no, you need to give me, you know, 80 to 100 million." You know, it's true, right? Even conservatively, 10, 20 million, just to get the literal bricks and mortar to make a studio. But you can say to me, "Hey, Justin, in your little flat, can you, with Amazon products, you know, spending hundreds of pounds, not millions, create a mini, you know, Rogan experience?" The answer is yes. So it's the access that people like. Also, people instinctively, intrinsically know they're being lied to. You know, the mainstream smear media have gone so far out of their way. Again, this all kind of boils down to opinions, doesn't it, really? To pursue Rogan, and because they're threatened by Rogan's 11 million views an episode, ouch. You know, this has got nothing to do with, you know, actual truth telling, and everything to do with greed. You know, this is a how dare a bloke with an engineer, because that's what you've got to understand logistically and operationally the Rogan experiences. And bear in mind, I've got two friends who I know, you know, the direct people who have done his show. So I can actually speak to them and say, "What was it like?" You know, and they can tell me. I'm you know, 1 degree of separation removed. My point is, it's the access, it's the truth telling, it's the authenticity. Humans gravitate towards that, and I think what's happening now is the theatrical simulacrum. You know, again, it's a simulation, isn't it? It's these marionettes, these awful, awful, disingenuous people like Brian Stelter, you know, that come on screen and lie. They lie with every breath they can muster. You know, this is the staggering, breathtaking, breath-stealing lies. You know, it's akin to me desperately trying to convince you that, like, I'm an elephant, you know, or something so far off, you know, so far left field. It's for anyone to believe the conventional networks now. That person's got to be willfully ignorant and part of their cults, you know, indoctrinated, and just is, I don't know. The thing is, I've got to get reductive with this. I've used Rogan as a big topic to funnel down into a personal topic, and the personal topical question is, how bothered are you, dear listener, dear viewer, of what they, air quotes, they say? This could be family, friends, or if we go outside to peers, if I get, you know, external with it, peers, you know, colleagues, and then ultimately out to, you know, your bosses, and then public. You know, a ripple effect. And I feel, again, it's just my personal opinion, that if you love someone, if they're family or friend, and you know, you of course their opinion matters. Of course, you know, like I've got one living direct family member in my life, like immediate, what I call proper family, blood, genes, and that's my brother. Um, so what he thinks of me matters to me. I am bothered. I would be bothered. I would be upset. I would be hurt, upset, annoyed if my brother turned around to me and said, "Hey, Jew, I watched your stream. You're awful. It's awful. Just vomitous. Just stop it. It's terrible. You should be ashamed." I'll be like, "Oh my God, whoa, 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 whoa." I'd be upset. But if someone that frankly didn't matter to me said, "Oh, just I caught your live stream. You're a bit of a cock. I think you're boring. I think you talk too much." I'd be like, "Cool, mate. Don't watch it again." I just, so one would bother me, family, and one wouldn't. Um, so I've well, hopefully demonstrated a very, very easy point to grasp. Um, I think it's worth being bothered, isn't it? If you're married, if you've got children, if you've got people, again, friends and family that matter to you. So the effect of disapproval would adversely affect you. Are you with me? Whereas in the wider public domain, if I write a ridiculous tweet and then a complete stranger types, "You're a twat," I must not be bothered by this. And this is something that Rogan speaks to a great deal, looking at the comment section. And yeah, I struggle to speak because it feels to me incredibly easy to grasp what's going on. Only when I look to commentators online like Tim Pool, with a far larger audience, and they're saying things like, talking about the public, that there's a duality, well, a dual reality where people are fundamentally living in two different versions of reality, like a time zone, a different hemisphere. And we've never, as a conscious societal level, we've never known, we've never known a more tumultuous time, a time when people are frankly pissed off, they're angry, they're just volatile, and I'm so. I don't like the one-upmanship. I don't like the, I'll stitch you up. There's a lot of back pissing going on, as I say. It's just, I don't know. It's emperor's got no clothes time, guys. It's Rogan delivered a 10-minute apology today on Spotify, and again to Jen Psaki circle back. If you see, as an appreciator of the JRE, if the desire of the left is played out, let's just say that the censorious types on the left, because they are, get their way. Let's just say Spotify yield, take a knee, they crumble. The CEO, Daniel Ek, joins with CEO Susan Wojcicki at YouTube, and they all, have this sort of amalgam of justice and, and they boot Rogan off. He's got enough. He will, he is in a position to literally from the servers upwards. Dare I say, grassroots, go again. He's actually uncancelable, and they know it. So be inspired by this. Get inspired from it because of this. You know, if you're looking at a Stephen Crowder, a Ben Shapiro, a Joe Rogan, you know, they've all got none of these guys are poor. And I look at someone like myself, you know, doing it on a few £100. I'm still inspired by it. I'm still motivated to do this because I'm seeing what it could be. And if you want any evidence of that, go back 13 years. Well, when did he start? Anyway, but Brian Redban and Rogan started, I think it was 2009. I'm going to say, I think they started Christmas 2009. But certainly, you know, 13 odd years ago. And all it was Rogan and his friend Brian Redban on either a Christmas or a New Year's Eve. I'm going to say Christmas Eve, just getting drunk and just talking shit. Just no different to me or you guys sitting down with your mobile phone with a few beers and a spliff or three, talking bollocks, okay? And filming it for a crack. Literally, that's what Rogan did. And that organic growth has, you know, that's the beautiful thing. Yeah, that organic grassroots, there's another word for grassroots that I've forgotten about. But anyway, that is inspiring because it shows that having a muckabout over the Christmas period grew into this behemoth, this Leviathan-esque, life-changing thing. This, you know, if you don't draw inspiration from that, then I don't know, just, yeah, you should. I'm getting tired, but like I say, all I wanted to achieve tonight was to speak, hopefully, relatively well, to what's going on. And, you know, the overarching point being, unless you love them, unless they're friends, family, partners, you know, kids, whatever, that really matter to you, that you actually love and they love you, you know, warts and all, as we say, their opinions shouldn't matter at all. They shouldn't. And this logic, this ideal can be scaled up all the way to Joe Rogan. So I salute the man. Again, not ashamed to dick ride Rogan here because it's, yeah, it's done good. It's done good, you know. Okay, I'm going to do a bit more pedaling and I'm going to fall asleep as I already am. Guys, I love you. Thank you for listening to this. If anyone does, God damn, I got to find a way. All right, I'm out. We'll be back tomorrow night, episode 460. I've got more to talk about. I just wanted to talk about this, you know. Got 100 monkeys to talk about. Got the Liver King to talk about. The embarrassment there's a Liver King. But again, keep it real, y'all. Whatever. Just you know, don't be affected by them. Yeah. All right. You be good. I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place, same face. All right. Cheers.